For tens of years, millions of people have been advocating for their rights and fighting against social injustices. Whether it's attending protests, signing a petition, or donating money, activism is at the heart of our society. However, in recent years, due to social media, performative activism is at an all-time high, and as a result, more harm than good can be caused. Yes, you may be thinking performative activism is still activism, yet it can create a false sense of community and also a lack of education about the material one is reposting about. To begin with, let's talk a little bit more about what performative activism truly is. Well, according to the Boston Medical Center, performative activism is defined as activism that is done to increase one's social capital rather than one's devotion to a cause. In many ways, this is extremely unethical and can be detrimental to a society. Performative activism can be saying one thing and then continuing to make the same harmful choices and actions that one is talking against. However, performative activism also can be something that is done by choice. People can be performative for a monetary value. You'll find that a lot of celebrities, influencers, and even brands will say one thing while behind the scenes they're doing something that they're promoting against. In 2020, performative activism was at an all-time high. According to Sage Journals, when activism initiatives and promises do not come to fruition, that is when it's been labeled as performative activism. This term used colloquially gained widespread popularity during the BLM movement, and it gained its peak on June 2nd, 2020, when the hashtag Blackout Tuesday went viral all over Instagram. Along with the hashtag, a blank black box was posted. Millions of celebrities, influencers, people, and brands posted this. However, it's been found that activism efforts during the public engaged in summer 2020 are being reevaluated and labeled as performative, particularly those of corporate activism during this pivotal period. Studies have shown that brands and companies that posted hashtag Blackout Tuesday during this time were actually not truly meaning it. They were doing it as a monetary value and as a way of exploiting the black community. Hashtag BLM came back out in 2012 after Trayvon Martin was brutally murdered by a police officer. When 17 months later the killer was acquitted, the hashtag Black Lives Matter was posted all over Twitter and it gained traction. This hashtag was used yet again after George Floyd was murdered by Minneapolis police officers in early 2020. This hashtag has also been used to highlight the black individuals that have been killed by police brutality, such as Breonna Taylor, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Sandra Bland, Rodney King, and the list can go on. In a way, the exploitation of black Americans is very detrimental, and this hashtag is yet again another way to show that performative activism can spread just beyond other people. Along with the BLM movement, other hashtags have been used in the performative activism community, such as the hashtag MeToo movement, hashtag Free Palestine, hashtag Break the Bias. Yes, these hashtags can all be genuine whether you're posting it from the heart, but a lot of the time, people will use these hashtags in order to grab someone's attention or as well as a monetary value. So why may one partake in performative activism? Most of the time when someone's being performative, they don't really know what they're doing. A lot of times people will see it as trendy to repost something that they see their friends posting on Instagram. However, according to MUJSP, which is a journal of social psychology, their research found that the fear of cancel culture led to an increase in online activism, especially in influencers and celebrities. A lot of times, their fan bases, as well as other people around them, were fear-mongering them or forcing them to talk about a specific subject. This has been especially prevalent during the hashtag Free Palestine movement during the conflict with Palestine and Israel. As a result of this cancel culture, hundreds of celebrities and influencers have had to post about this, clearing things up. Celebrities have been canceled for not talking about something. Their comments can be filled with emojis and hateful comments. However, there are some celebrities that use their platforms to good. Some examples can be Bella Hadid when talking about Palestine, as well as Nicola Coughlan, who raised lots of money for Palestine, as well as children in need of aid. Now, not all celebrities are good, and celebrities shouldn't be some people that we look up to. However, with their big platforms, their voice can mean a lot more than ours. For a majority of these time, when these celebrities and influencers are forced to speak up, they are prioritizing their personal reputation over genuine change. As a result, this can drown out marginalized choices and oversimplify complex issues. As a result, this leads to an overall lack of education about the issues in our world, as well as the societal injustices that millions of people are facing. So, is performative activism truly bad? Yes and no. This has been a debate that's gone on for so many years whether performative activism truly is negative, and while it does have its negative downsides, people that are forced into performative activism aren't always the best. However, someone's performative activism can also open the eyes of someone else. Say, for example, you see a post on Instagram and you're really curious about it, so you click on it, and you read the caption, and you realize that you care more about this topic than you thought. As a result, you go on to educate yourself, you read more articles about it, and that can be one of the upsides of performative activism. As well as performative activism can be the first step in someone becoming an actual activist. So, what is an activist and how is it different than performative activism? Well, a performative activist is a person who campaigns to bring about political or social change. Yes, performative activism is still activism, as I've stated multiple times in this video. However, people who are actual activists may go with the things that they do. They go to protests, they sign petitions, they make an actual campaign in order to create change. Our voices need to be heard, and that's the one thing that makes an activist different than a performative activist. It's hard to be a performative activist in real life. You can't really go to a protest and say you're being performative because you're at the protest. You're standing to make a change. Performative activism is mainly seen online and on social platforms because it is an online thing. It's very easy to do. Is it easy to tell when someone's a performative activist? Most of the time, it is. People who are performative activists have no true foundation for what they're talking about. There's a lack of education, and the material that they're talking about has no response. Most of the time, when you ask someone why they believe in this, or why they're boycotting this brand, or why they're saying what they're saying, they'll say, "Oh, my friend told me," or "Oh, I saw this post on Instagram," or "Oh, I don't support this because it's bad." Just because something's bad isn't a justified reason on not supporting it. The biggest example that comes to my mind is Starbucks. Starbucks has been boycotted multiple times for union workers, Palestine and Israel conflicts. It's been a heavy topic that's been debated on social media. However, it being bad and it supporting bad causes isn't a justified reason for why you shouldn't support it. Instead of just saying it's bad, look into it. Why is Starbucks bad? Why does Starbucks support Israel? What is they doing? Why is their money going to this? Why are their union workers constantly fighting and standing outside their stores closing because they don't want to support the work? That's the question that goes on. That's how you can become an activist. Critical thinking is one of the biggest things of being an activist. Performative activists don't use critical thinking and they just jump straight to conclusions and saying something is bad is bad. Along with all of these assumptions, performative activists don't really have any idea what they're saying. Most of the time, they're jumping on a bandwagon because their friends are doing it. They're seeing it on social media. Oh, influencers are doing it. A lot of times, people are seeing activism as being a trend. In reality, activism isn't a trend. Fighting for our rights isn't something that we should be using as trendy. This term trendy shouldn't be conned as being an activist. Going to parades, going to protests, it's not trendy. It's fighting for your rights. It's the first step in making a change. It can be the catalyst of a movement that helps everything. At this point in the video, you may be wondering, Devin, how do I ensure that I don't become a performative activist? Let me tell you, in this day and age, it's pretty hard not to be performative sometimes when that repost and share button is so easily accessible on Instagram and TikTok posts. However, before you click that share button, read the caption, do a little bit more research, know about what you're posting and talking about. Most of these times, the posts that people are reposting have multiple slides or longer captions with lots of information and sometimes even links that'll take you somewhere else. A lot of times as well, these places that are posting about it will have a link tree in their bio. In this link tree, there may be other research articles, there may be aids to donate to, as well as GoFundMes. Along with your own personal research, you can also donate money. There are so many GoFundMes out there that are easily accessible due to the internet now that donations are super easy. Yes, money may not be always the easiest to come across, however, $5 can mean a difference. If you have 100 people that donate $5 each, that's $500. That $500 can use to be donate water, food, or clothing to people in need. As well as money, you can also donate food and clothing. There are so many shelters out there that are willingly accepting things, whether it's used or new or old. They'll take it most of the time and they're very grateful. Another way that you can be an activist is protesting. Protesting and parades are super easy and accessible, especially here in the capital. A lot of the times there's going to always be a protest going on Friday or the weekend, and people are always banded outside of the Capitol sitting. Most of the times, people are very wary of protests because they think it's going to be harmful or they don't want to get in trouble because of an aggressor. However, most of the time, these protests are extremely peaceful. Sometimes there's children there, there's music, there's colors. It's all just a bunch of people standing together to make a change. The easiest way that you can be an activist is by voting. As American citizens, we all have the right to vote, and at the age of 18, that was our choice given to us. You can vote on the federal, legal, or state level, and that can actually make so much of a change. Your one vote really matters. Yes, while Instagram and social media are some of the roots of why we have performative activism, there are a couple of amazing accounts that dedicate their time to make a change in the world. A lot of the time, they'll have amazing link trees and resources posted so people can access them easily from their phone. I'm about to show you guys a couple of my favorites. This is Impact. This is one of my favorite Instagram pages to go to. If you look on their link, they have a site that takes you directly to their website that has a bunch of their posts. It tells you what they're about and what their mission is, as well as all the platforms that they're on. As well, if you click the three little lines to the side, it can tell you how you can get involved. So Informed is another good Instagram page that I always look at for my information. They have a lot of links, they use a lot of research, and as you can see, they have a list of all the donations and the things that you can donate money to, as well as look at to find out research. On their website, you can find out what they're about as well. It's not easy trying to be an activist. There are so many social pressures out there, and knowing to be not judged by your friends is extremely hard. However, in order to be an activist, you have to deal with the pressures that you're going to get faced with. You're going to get comments, you're going to get backlash, people may unfollow you, and you may even lose friends, but in the end, you're working to fight a change and making someone's life better. We were all given a voice for a reason, so why not use it? We can all be activists and fight for something we love, whether it's something that we feel deeply for us or whether it's going to support a friend. Activism is at the root of our society.